It is being reported that Meek Mill sought a pardon via a Trump-connected lobbyist. Let me break down some details for you. According to lobbying records reviewed by TYT, Casey's firm, Quantum International, was hired in March by Robert Rahmeek Williams, Mill's real name, to lobby for a pardon by the President of the United States for Mr. Williams' unjust treatment and violation of civil rights. The government entity it says Casey contacted on Mill's behalf is named as the President of the United States. This is referring to Kerry Casey, who is a Trump-connected lobbyist, also married to a former high-ranking Trump executive. I want to get a response from the panel, but first let me break down a little bit what's going on with Mill. Mill was released from prison on April 24th after Pennsylvania's Supreme Court granted a request by prosecutors to vacate his conviction due to questions about the arresting officer's credibility. Whether he will face a new trial will be decided at a hearing in June. The 30-year-old rapper had been in and out of prison for a decade, becoming a cause célèbre among supporters who saw his case as emblematic of a draconian and racist justice system. And what we know about his affiliation with Casey is pretty limited, and I'll just outline that quickly. Casey first registered as Mill's lobbyist on March 12, 2018. Her first quarter lobbying disclosure form says he paid her an unspecified amount under $5,000 between that date and the end of the month. On April 11th, her husband tweeted an article about Mill's incarceration. So is this significant? What are your takeaways from this story?
There have been stories like this before, and I do think that his story is very emblematic, as the article was saying, of Meek Mill being the victim of being locked into a system. It was 2008 was the last time that he was convicted of a serious crime, and then after that, it was all parole violations. So, I mean, I think the last one, or one of the last ones, was popping wheelies on his dirt bike. And that's ridiculous that he's in prison for 2 to 4 years. So I understand the indignation around this and trying to figure out any political route to get out. And even the district attorney, Larry Krasner, said that he affirmed that the sentence should be thrown out. So everybody in this political configuration was saying that this is ridiculous. And I will draw your attention to something that happened actually in 2008. Grammy award-winning rapper, producer John Forte was actually convicted in 2001 and was drug-related charges. And you know who got him a pardon? Who pardoned him, like one of those midnight hour pardons? Was George W. Bush. So I understand when these weird sort of unholy alliances happen, and not that I'm advocating, quote unquote, playing with the devil, but when you're in that circumstance, it's hard to not be empathetic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree, and I think she's so. I like to hear her talk. I had a Cardi B moment just now. But I think the battle with the disenfranchised, people of color and people of lower income neighborhoods and that come from these areas is the battle between reflection and connection. Like you see a reflection in yourself, the people that look like you, who look like you, and you know that these things that happen. Meek released a beautiful statement when he got released about how it's great to be released, but he knows that a lot of people who don't have the money and the resources that he have, who young black men who won't have the same out. And so I think that a lot of times we condemn people who have these opportunities because they are not in the struggle with us anymore. Meek is not part of the everyday man in Philadelphia, even where he's from. But the fact that he moved something forward could be helpful, for those young black men. And I do believe that sometimes someone asked me one time about an agent, and they said, what do you think about this agent? And I said, I think he's the devil. And they're like, well, why are you signed to him? And I'm like, because who better to represent you in hell than the devil?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And so people have some questions about how Meek Mill got into contact with this person. As of now, it's still pretty vague, but here's something that we know. It's not clear how Mill came to be a client of Quantum, which describes itself as a boutique firm in the formation stages. The company's disclosure forms indicate that Casey has only had one other client for about a year. So it's still pretty mysterious, but I hear what both of you guys are saying in the sense of, like, when your back is against the wall, how can you fault him for trying to get out of the system? And something that I learned as well is a huge limitation for him was put on his travel. He's a musician, and that absolutely limits his opportunity to create a better life for himself.
That's how he violated one of his paroles.
Right. And I mean, and how that must be so incredibly infuriating, where it's like, all right, don't, just be a rapper, but only here, and you absolutely have to limit yourself and the opportunity that you can dream up, which is for a parole violation. And then in violating that, you're trying to grow your career, and then you're getting slapped again for that. It's ridiculous, and so I understand why this has been so emblematic of the system, and it's just an interesting story, his association with that.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber, and second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.